It's race day here in Melbourne as we continue with what could shape up to be one of the best Australian Grand Prix. Just south of Melbourne's downtown business centre is the one and only Albert Park circuit. 3.3 miles of public roads, closed for the weekend of course, make for a bumpy circuit with little undulation. There are 16 corners around the lake and a couple of good passing opportunities here as well, thanks in part to the DRS zones into turns 1, 3 and 13. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of turn 1. So how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
There are three main things to worry about there, Crofty. Positioning, awareness and discipline. First, you have to put your car in a bit of space and make sure you have room to react to what the others are doing. Then you have to watch your mirrors and listen to the sounds around you to get a sense of where everyone is. And finally, just don't get too greedy. Just because a gap exists doesn't always mean you should go for it.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, just edging out Alexander Albon, who'll start from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Leclerc, Vettel, Max Verstappen and Hamilton, Perez, Ricciardo, Magnussen and Esteban Ocon, Grosjean, Sainz, Lance Stroll and Norris, Kvyat, Russell, Antonio Giovinazzi and Nicholas Latifi. Raikkonen and Pierre Gasly picks up the final grid slot today. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. It's race day and our drivers are all out on the grid performing their final checks before we get underway here at the Bahrain International Circuit. We go racing today around 3.36 miles of the magnificent Bahrain International Circuit, with 15 corners and 2 good passing opportunities into turns 1 and 4. Keep an eye out for drivers locking the front left tyre into the tricky braking zone of turn 10. You join us today from Hanoi for what promises to be a great day of racing. Yes, it's time for the Vietnam Grand Prix. A lap of Hanoi circuit then, 3.4 miles around the Vietnamese capital. A number of the 23 corners take their inspiration from other great circuits, hopefully creating plenty of passing opportunities. It's time to find out which driver is up to the task of claiming the Chinese Grand Prix. We're here in Shanghai. Shanghai International Circuit then, a 16-corner high-speed thrill ride. The long and ever-tightening right-hander at turns 1 and 2 tests a driver's patience, and the flat, open to the elements location, tests their skill in a crosswind. 2 DRS zones will assist passing, and overtaking is available into turn 1 and of course down the kilometre-long back straight into the hairpin at turn 14. Hello and welcome to Zandvoort for another round of Formula One action. Zandvoort circuit then, 14 corners, 10 to the right and 4 to the left, with plenty of steep camber and elevation changes to keep our drivers on their toes throughout the 2.6 mile lap. And watch out for cars making use of the DRS zone into turn 1 to try and overtake. I don't think we're in for a quiet one today. It's race day here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. It's a sellout crowd of 140,000 here today as we await lights out for the 730-metre sprint down to turn 1 of this 2.9-mile racetrack. Overtaking is challenging through these 16 corners, but there's still a lot of high-speed excitement to be found, including the flat-out turn 3 and the terrifying blind right of turn 9. You can feel the tension in the air as we move into race day here at Monaco. It's a track that requires the full concentration of the drivers with zero margin for error. It tests their skills to the absolute limits, so no wonder it remains a fan favourite. We're on the French Riviera once more this weekend at the 2-mile-long Circuit de Monaco. The cars climb around 40 metres up through Beau Rivage, onto the casino, and then descending down towards the harbour through Sector 2. It's a very short run from pole position to the first of the 19 corners here, 7 to the left and 11 to the right. There's one single DRS zone as well, so don't expect that to make overtaking any easier today. With the drivers currently lining up on the grid, it's almost time to begin today's race event here. We're on the winding streets of Baku. Baku City Circuit then, an unpredictable 3.7-mile track around the streets of the Azerbaijan capital. 20 turns for our drivers to navigate today, including the infamous Turn 8, one of the tightest and most challenging corners of the season. All it takes is one look around the crowd to know it's finally race day. The atmosphere at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve is incredible. Personally, I think we're in for a brilliant race. It's one of the fastest races of the season here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, with around 60% of this 2.7-mile circuit taken at full throttle. There are 14 corners to navigate, the very last of which has its very own infamous history. Could be the cause of a safety car today. It's that time once again, the final moment before lights out and the charge down to turn 1. Who will come out on top at Paul Ricard today? We'll find out soon as the French Grand Prix gets underway. A lap of Paul Ricard then consists of 15 corners and a total length of around 3.6 miles. Drivers will need to position their cars carefully on the exit of the flat-out turn 10, ready for the double apex right-hander at 11. Watch out for potential overtaking action at the end of the start-finish straight and into the heavy braking zone of turn 8. The hills are alive with the sound of engines. It's race day at the Austrian Grand Prix. The Spielberg circuit then is situated 700 metres above sea level, with just 10 corners making up one of the shortest laps of the season. One time around here is a distance of 2.6 miles, with the best overtaking chances into turn 1 or the tight uphill turn 3. Welcome to Silverstone, home of the British Grand Prix. This iconic track held the very first World Championship Formula One race back in 1950, and it's a firm favourite amongst the fans and drivers alike. The 3.6 miles of the Silverstone circuit in Great Britain is hallowed ground to the Formula One faithful. We have 18 corners that wrap around this former World War II airbase, and some good passing opportunities at the end of the DRS zones. It's Sunday and that means it's race time here in Spa. As the cars are being prepared, let's join them trackside for the start of the Belgian Grand Prix. Spa-Francorchamps then, a historic 19-corner circuit with a lap distance of 4.35 miles. There's over 100 metres of elevation change here, and with long stretches of the lap spent flat out, a good top speed will be vital for success. We're live on the outskirts of the capital, Budapest, at a track that's extremely popular with both the fans and our drivers. I'm of course talking about the Hungaroring, where we're about to begin the Hungarian Grand Prix. We're northeast of Budapest for the race today at the 2.7-mile Hungaroring circuit. 14 corners here, 8 to the right and 6 to the left, on a track where downforce is king and passing is notoriously difficult. Welcome to Monza, where the crowd are ready for today's action. And we hope you're ready to see the world's best drivers fighting it out for that #1 spot. It's time for the Italian Grand Prix. With top speeds up to 215 miles per hour and an average lap speed of around 155 miles per hour, Monza's reputation as one of the fastest circuits in the sport is well earned. We have 11 corners on this 3.6-mile track, with the best overtaking chance coming into the heavy braking zone of the Turn 1 chicane. Welcome then to Marina Bay in a tough, bumpy street circuit that will test these drivers to their absolute limit. So sit back and enjoy the action here at the Singapore Grand Prix. It's a 3.1-mile lap here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit, with 47% taken at full throttle. It's hot, humid and bumpy around the 13 lefts and the 10 rights of mostly slow corners. But we should see speeds of up to 200 miles per hour along the Raffles Boulevard. Welcome to the Black Sea Resort of Sochi, host to Russia's first ever Formula One race. The drivers are getting ready, so let's join them for the start of the Russian Grand Prix. It's full throttle for around 56% of the lap here at the Sochi Autodrome, a 3.6-mile run around the site of the 2014 Winter Olympics. 12 right turns and 6 left turns give us a total count of 18, with passing opportunities available into turns 1 and 13. After a fantastic qualifying yesterday, it's finally time for the race, here at one of the most exciting circuits on the Formula One calendar. Welcome to Suzuka for the Japanese Grand Prix. A lap of this historic racetrack covers 3.6 miles, and it's the only time during the season that we race on a figure-of-8 racetrack. The drivers can expect some intense G-forces through the 18 corners on offer here as they experience some of the highest average apex speeds on the Formula One calendar. And keep an eye out for overtakes going into the final chicane. Welcome to Texas, where we've had approximately 120,000 race fans through the gates to attend this year's US Grand Prix. They're excited, we're excited. I hope you're excited too. We're racing today then in Travis County, Texas, around the 20 corners of the wonderful Circuit of the Americas. We'll be reaching speeds of around 200 miles an hour, and there are plenty of good opportunities to pass, especially through the 2 DRS zones into Turn 1 and the very long back straight into Turn 12. Welcome to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, which is the location for today's race. The cars are out on the grid, so let's join the action down on the track. At 2,285 meters above sea level, the thin air of the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez poses a unique challenge, not just to a driver's skill, but to the efficiency of their engines as well. 17 corners make up a lap of this 2.6-mile circuit, and you can expect incredible speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and overtaking too into the hard braking zones of turns 1 and turn 4. The day we've all been waiting for is finally here. It's race day. The Brazilian Grand Prix has hosted some of the most important races in F1, and I've got a feeling today will be no different. Interlagos, always a very special race here in Brazil. It's a 2.7-mile circuit with 9 lefts and 6 rights for a total of 15 corners. The fastest lap today should have an average speed of around 135 miles per hour, if, of course, the weather stays dry until the end of the Grand Prix. The roar of the crowd can only really mean one thing. Race day has arrived here in Abu Dhabi. It's time to join our teams who are getting ready down on the grid. We have 21 corners here at the Yas Marina circuit, 12 to the left and 9 to the right. It's a total lap distance of just over 3.4 miles. There are 2 long back straights opening up some passing opportunities into the braking zones, and we expect average lap speeds of around 123 miles an hour.